I'm installing the Exofab DIY TJ cage kit into my TJ. As you can see, I've already started, so at least I have a little idea of how to get going. I also had to give those guys a call just to see what order they recommend starting in, as I did not see anything like on the website of what to do. So if you remember, I had my old cage, well, the factory roll bar that I turned into like a CJ style with the harness bar there, so I've taken that out now. I also had to get the doors out so I could make sure the windshield was up far enough so it could close if I ever need to put them back on. As you can tell, I got the the stanchion bar in there, and right now just a little bit of tack. I did weld that completely. Don't worry about my welds; they'll hold. As you can see, that's got a more connect in there, and then down at the bottom you have the piece, which ends up looking like this. So right now I have it just basically halfway between as far forward and as far back as those can be. Just for simplicity, I welded on a spot for the ground. And I'm getting this other one ready to go in. This was one of the questions I had to ask, which was how these mount. So that's what the guy told me. I sent him a picture of what I had, and of course he told me flip it around and I was good to go. So now that is set. I am going to have to do some work once I get the cage back out for paint and drill out some holes. And I'll probably do some sort of plate across the bottom for extra strength. I'm also going to do a cage tie-in for some barns. Got some bushings and some tabs and everything to weld those up. I've got a 20-foot stick of pipe under there, and of course all the pieces that come with the Exofab kit, as well as a couple that I have on the floor over here. So I got my welder going. I did get a tank of gas. Welding with gas is much better than welding with the flux core. It's much cleaner. But so yeah, you got that. Of course, you're gonna need your the best tool in the world, the angle grinder with a flat disc on there at the moment to clean up the pipes. I won't be able to record and do this at the same time, but I was looking for videos all over for how to do this, and I didn't see one, so that's what I have for now. And I'll try to remember to do this at every step. Thanks. All right, so I got the bar set in there. I did place a tack at the rear, but I'll show you how I got the front to stay with just me in the garage. So I just used some vice grips and lined it up, and right now the pipe's just resting on the vice grips, so I'm about to tack that. This is how I have that sort of held in place. It's just resting there. So it's a little hard to tell, but it's resting there. And I'm going to remove my little spacer for the door. I think I'll have plenty of space without that there. But that's what I have for the moment. They said the next step after these are tacked in will be to put the spreader bar across the top of the windshield, and then the spreader bar for the B-pillars, and sort of hold them in place, and then start the bars that go from the center of the windshield to the B-pillar. So I'll come back when that's ready. Alright guys, so I'm back again. I added a couple more pieces. They're just sitting there for right now. The B-pillar post, this is just sitting for the moment. I did take a measurement from here to the windshield on both sides to make sure those match up. I do have this in. I'm hoping, I got a little carried away and did more than tack weld right there. I'm hoping it's okay. If not, I'll have to maybe adjust the other side. I don't know. All right, so without any pictures or anything, you would you may not know where the things go. Luckily, I asked the ExoFab guys, and I called them up. They text me some pictures that you can see a lot better than what is posted on the website. So we have this windshield bar here. There is a top to it. So if I put this bar in the other way, flip it and put it the other way, then the way it's notched on the bottom to meet up here won't match up. So that has to go in that direction. But now, before you tack anything, you got to get these spreader bars and measure these. So it looks like I'm a little off down there. I have to see basically what I did to figure this out. But that's where I'm at the moment. So I may have to remove the tack that's on this B pillar and bring it forward a 1/2 inch, and then of course just knock this one forward a 1/2 inch, and then those spreader bars will line up. So I'll be back when I get that figured out. All right, so I'm making some more progress. I still do not have the top B pillar spreader bar welded in yet. However, I did those. I tacked in the front bar. I ended up having to cut the tack on the other side, and it bumped it out just a hair. I have the header bars just sitting there right now. They're not tacked. Before I can tack those in, there's like the back half of the cage that will have bars that line up it as well. So I need to set that up first so I can make sure I get those center bars in the right positions. Now I wish there would have been some directions with measurements, so that way you know, you just keep moving. But I'll have to check that out first and then come back. But it is coming along. And I tell you, welding upside down is and sideways, and it's very difficult. I'm only decent at welding when I'm, you know, tabletop in a straight line or something. So, but I know I got good penetration on the welds, discoloration of the metal, so that is all right. And then back here, so for this bar, I did have to cut the tack and then fit in the dash bar, then tack that in. So it's coming along. I'm probably gonna quit for the night and then come back tomorrow after work. And then at some point, I have to get my neighbors to help me and lift this out, do the rest of the welding, paint it, and then I'll put it back in. I still have to put my harness bar in as well as drill the holes for the bolts for the base of the straps. But it's coming along. It's definitely not difficult at all, especially since everything is notched and ready to go. I did think about buying pipe and doing it myself, but it takes a really long time with the angle grinder to do that stuff. So, all right, well, that's it for now. I don't think I have any other tips. Well, I would say one thing. Before you weld these in, I would definitely get this header bar in there sized up, because I'm gonna have to make a little bit of adjustments because I have a slight gap on that side right there. So I'll have to make a little bit of adjustment there. And then another place to have a measurement would have been from like the center of here up to the windshield. I think I'm at 34 inches. I'm not exactly sure what the measurement was supposed to be because there's nothing written down, but that would also be a nice thing to have. These little angle pieces they were slightly off, as I believe this B pillar was supposed to be slightly more vertical, but well, it's already there, and you know, I'm not too worried about it. So that's what I have for now. All right, guys, I'm back again. It's the next day, Friday after work. I forgot to record a few things, but I stopped for now. So I got the harness bar in, and again, it really helps if you just tack some things. And I mean, you're going to be cutting tacks pretty much constantly, so you can hold it together while you're fitting everything up. So I had to cut those tacks and push it closer to the tub on both sides. I had to cut the tacks. I put my seat back in and I measured, so I have a slight, negative 10 degrees down for the harness bars. When I called ExoFab, they said, use some straps. So before I was welding this back section, I threw a strap across here. Of course, this top bar isn't welded yet because I still have to adjust this front bar, as I have a bit of a gap right there. So I'm gonna have to maybe do a little adjustment with the bolts to get that to close up. But for this back piece, you definitely need an extra person. I just used their pictures on the website, and it looked like it lined up about there on both sides. So I was using a level as well. So I'm off just a little bit, so I'm gonna have to cut the tack weld down there and the tack weld up there, and I just put a little bit of weight on it to pull it back down. You see over here that it fit down closer to the tub on this side. So I'll have to make that side match. I'm sure it won't be as perfect as those guys can do when they put it together at their shop, but it'll be good enough to look cool at the in the parking lot of the mall. So again, here's that right there, lined up. My mount's right here, and I guess while I'm at it, I'll tell you, from the floor to right here for the center of the bar was 30 inches. There we go. So from the windshield at the top of the bar all the way back to this bar, that is the measurement. It's probably a ½ inch too long. So just keep that in mind when you're welding these together, that you have the left and the right sides equal. Because also you have to have this front bar, this top bar line up. So that top bar's got to line up too, along with these center bars. None of that's welded in yet. I will say, before you go and burn this in as I did, you have to get this bar, use a ratchet strap and squeeze it together on this bar as well as with the dash bar in there. So again, it's going to be a lot of just tack welds and then fitting things up, ratchet strapping, cutting the tack welds, making adjustments. I mean, it's pretty easy, but as far as putting it together, you just got to make some adjustments. Again, the order to put this together, would have been nice. Start with your stanchions, and then work your way around. Some rough measurements for where this pole should line up. Things like that would have been nice, and so you don't have to guess so much. But all right, I'm gonna cut my tacks down there and finish this rear halo bar, and I'll be back. All right, so I had to do a bit more adjusting, cut some welds, or cut some of the tacks, and then do some more adjustments to get everything touching. So I had to adjust that again. The bottom, those corners there. So I got a strap on there to Basically, it was to hold that down because the tack's on the other side, but now it's all set. So I still have to do the front and the 2 header bars, but I'll worry about that in a little bit. As that front bar has to, I got some adjustments to go on that still. So now I'm just going to be moving that, probably that ratchet strap around a little bit to hold pressure on those tacks while I'm welding, and then I'll get back. Alright guys, so it's day 3, Saturday, just before lunch. I'm back working on this again. So I said I have most of the cage burnt in. I did add an extra piece. I added this bar down here. I still have to weld the underside of it when I take the cage out of the Jeep. I just put that bar on for fun, being I have the whole thing of pipe down there of tubing, just so it doesn't look like the rest of them, basically. On the front, I'm about to fix the front here. So, as I said, it's a little bit off right there. So I'm going to do what I don't want to do, and fold the windshield down and cut that side, or this side or the passenger side, whichever one has more space between the bolt, and move it in ever so slightly, and then hopefully everything will go back together, and then I will put these header bars in the center there. All right, well, I got the cage out of the Jeep, and I was welding the spots that I couldn't really get to inside the Jeep. The stanchions that run down on the bottom of these A-pillars, I ended up just cutting off the little bit of weld I had on there, maybe an inch of weld or so I could get this out of the Jeep easier. The floor plates for the B-pillars, I already had to cut those loose once for an adjustment, and just a quick tack to put those back in, but I will leave those off as well. They're still in the Jeep. Once I'm all done here, then and I put this back, I will burn it in through the floor, because I was thinking it would just be a little bit too hard to get the feet, if the feet were on there, out of the Jeep. So that's what I got, and working on finishing up all the welding. All right, so right now I'm doing some painting. I got all the welding done except like a centimeter's worth, and I ran out of gas. So I'll have to touch that up here another time, but for now, I'm just going to get some paint done, put the primer on there. So I gotta go grab another can. I thought I had more, but I don't. So, just at the moment, getting that done. I'll get the bottom side all primed, and then I'll do the top side, and then flip it back up again and paint the black. And then eventually get it back into the car, install my stanchions and get those welded again. Weld the base plates on for the B pillars. Alright guys, so I finished up the roll cage. I threw on a soft top that I got. Well, I got it for free, so I didn't really care about cutting it up too much, which I'll show you in a moment. As far as putting the cage back in, I had it on the floor of the garage to finish welding and painting, and then just picked up the cage, put it in the back of my truck, and then backed up the Jeep to the truck bed, and then just walked it across, set it in, and then I ended up welding those down, welding the floor plates in. Of course, I got my fire extinguisher back. This right here was from the soft top piece. I cut off the other piece for the soft top for the second bow, because basically if you're running the shoulder harness bar, then the second bow sits right where this is. Now my other factory roll cage, I had done a cutout and just like flipped this around backwards and welded it back in, but obviously it probably wasn't as strong as you know it should be for stuff like that. So I just ended up cutting the bracket and just welding on, because this is all I need. I still have the buckles up there. I will tell you, if you do this though, you need to take a good measurement for how far the bar needs to be back from the clip, because I did have to cut those. So if you can see, I cut it off. I cut about a little over a 1/4 inch off, and I think I have to shave it off just a little more, like a 1/16 more, so that way it doesn't contact here. So I have to sort of finagle it. It barely touches, but I'll cut off a little bit more because it was just an extra one I got off of Marketplace for free. That's what I got going on there. I did put my hand holds on there. I forgot to order the metal ones that come across here. I don't know, maybe next winter I'll order those and weld those in. I'm not sure. We'll see. I mean, I've had these the whole time. Not a big deal. So we'll see about that. I still have my speaker pods flipped around backwards so they can fit in. I could have put them back here on the back side like it is factory. They would just fit, but it wouldn't sit level, so you would see a bulge in the top. So I just put them back how I had them. Plus, right over your head, you don't have to turn it up loud, and you can hear it just fine. Now on the back, I said, you know, I just cut the stuff off, and I just had some straps on there. I might get a piece of Velcro or something instead that's maybe a little bit faster. I do notice when I drive, I just rode over here, it raised up a little bit. So, but mainly this is just for when it's parked in case it rains. You know, it's not really for cruising at highway speeds, just around town or through the woods. Keep the leaves off me. I sort of cut out all the extra stuff, the zipper that was in there. I am going to go to the store though, and on the roll bar here you have the snaps that normally go around the bows for the rear. Well, I'm going to get the other side of these snaps so I can snap them to the roll bar, the ones with the screw in. So I'll just be able to snap those there. So I got 4 snaps that that'll keep this from flapping and maybe make it a little bit tighter. The other thing I have to do is I'll probably run a bungee cord across here, you know, from right here over to the other side, just to keep that from flapping in the wind if I'm, you know, going a little bit faster. All right, so there we are with the top down. I just took a few seconds and just pop the clips. On the back though, that's how it sits. It does not interfere with the harness bar, but if I had the other bar, then it would be in the way. Of course, on the back here, I wasn't sure what to do with this, so it sort of just flopped down on the ground, and I just rolled it up, and then I used the strap that I had laying around, which you know, seems to work for now. I was hoping it would have stuffed down in here better, but it doesn't. But it'll be fine. The only thing, one concern I would have is in the woods, if I do end up bumping up against a tree, my other top, I ended up catching it on a tree, and it like bent up this piece of the plastic a little bit. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But here we are with the top. All right, guys, I guess this will be the last video for, or the last video clip for this cage install. But I got it all done. The last few days I've been working on the frame tie-in brackets. So I'll show you down here. The original hole was the bigger bolt. I drilled another hole right here on both sides. And then underneath, I made these tie-in brackets. So there they are right there. I made this plate, some 1 3/4 inch tubing with a bushing, some tabs and a bolt there. I got the bushing and tab kit from Barnes, but I made the rest of this. Genrate does have a kit. It's $150 for the A pillars and $150 for the C pillar. So for $300, I end up getting a whole stick of pipe, which you see down there, and all this other stuff for less than $200. However, each of these took, I don't know, probably 4 hours a piece to make, just because you you're fabbing stuff up, so you're just sort of guessing and fixing as you go until it all fits right. So I did the passenger side first, and that one, at least this part, the pipe came out pretty good. This one I screwed up and had to start over. I would say the longest part though was figuring out these plates and lining up the holes. Even though I made a stencil, it still took a while. Now the back, I'll do those another week. I'm going wheeling on Saturday, so I'm just done for now. Maybe another month or something I'll do it. But the back, I'll have to run up here. So there's the plate. I made a template of that plate, which I have over here on the floor. So there's part of my template. So I'll have to make the bottom plates for those, and then just take some guesswork at fitting a pipe from up there all the way down here to the frame with the same tab and bushing setup. So again, you can buy a kit, $150, that will do that, but I don't know, it sort of takes the fun out of it, even though it's a pain. I don't terribly mind doing it. Well, the soft top, as I said, I just used the one bow, and of course when I'm not using it, I just have it sort of back here and strapped down so it doesn't flap. The one thing is though, I had to get a bungee cord which will hook underneath to keep it from sort of rising up a little bit. And if I'm towing and I have the top up, I don't want it flapping and when I'm going 60 miles an hour. The other thing that I made is this bar here, a door bar. It's removable with the bolts, so I just use the bolt holes from the seat belt, because now I'm just running the harnesses only. This is 1 1/4 or 120 wall DOM, so I just made that here. I added that on just so there's no way for anything to catch. And then up here, I just use the same bolts that the cage uses, and that's a 3/16 flat bar. So taking that in and out just takes a couple minutes. Like I said, for the most part, it would be my kid, one of my kids riding in here, so they can just climb up and over and hop in. I can climb up in there. It's sort of a pain. That's why I'm not doing one on the driver's side. But at least for the kid, there'll be at least something there. I don't know, make me feel better when we're cruising over the rocks. But again, here was the passenger side, so I got those 2 bolt holes. Yeah, they're different bolts, just that's all I had laying around. I didn't want to keep buying bolts. And then underneath, you can see, again, the plate, the bar, and the bushing that's set up there. So that's everything. If you haven't seen them here in a while, the flat plate, the Barnes engine skid, which works great. All right, well that's it. Thanks for watching.